So we all already know that Kathleen Kennedy is just a huge hindrance when it comes to creative projects, when it comes to people like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni creating content for Star Wars, or really anyone who works for Lucasfilm. She just butts in, she butts heads with them until they either resign from the project, like we've seen so many directors and writers do. We've seen so many people get fired or leave projects because of creative differences. It's happened over and over again, and the common denominator for that is Kathleen Kennedy. She's the only one that we can really blame. A lot of people like Robert Meyer Burnett came on our stream a few weeks ago and he tried to tell us that it's the Disney overlords that are doing that. But whenever I hear stuff like that, I'm just wondering, why doesn't Marvel have the same problem? Because they have the same overlords that Kathleen Kennedy does. So it doesn't make sense to blame it on the Disney overlords. At the end of the day, the buck stops with Kathleen Kennedy, and she's a huge hindrance when it comes to creative projects, when it comes to Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni doing their thing, doing big things with Star Wars. Yes, The Mandalorian is good. That's a good show, but it doesn't have big implications for the overall Star Wars story, for the overall Star Wars universe. Same thing with Book of Boba Fett and a lot of the other shows that are coming out right now. Bad Batch, pretty good show. A lot of people are liking it so far. A lot of people said that there's a lot of filler. I haven't been watching it. I don't really like it too much. I watched the first 2 episodes and kind of lost interest. I'm probably going to start watching it again because the newest episode has a lot of good reviews. So it seems like people are starting to like the show again. But once again, the show is just not the meat of the Star Wars content, the stuff that we really want. The shows like Kenobi, like Ahsoka, it's just not those shows. We're getting small scale stories like The Mandalorian. Like I said, good show, very entertaining stuff. It feels like Star Wars again. That's why people liked it so much, because we had the sequel trilogy, which was large scale movies, but they didn't quite have that Star Wars, that original trilogy feel. It just didn't have that feel that we all look for when we watch Star Wars. The Mandalorian, very small scale, but it had that feel to it. And the Bad Batch is the same thing. Very small scale, I guess. I mean, it kind of has Order 66 in it, but it just feels small scale to me so far. But it has that Star Wars feel though. So that's why people can enjoy it. Book of Boba Fett's probably gonna be the same thing. Very small scale. It's just gonna be about the underworld of Tatooine, Boba Fett's story between the Empire Strikes Back and now. It's just gonna be small scale, feel like Star Wars. So why are they holding out on us with these large scale projects? Why aren't Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni creating these large scale projects, these Thrawn trilogy type stuff that everyone thinks that they're going to do, this big Thrawn trilogy thing? And apparently all of their shows, all of their content is going to end in one climactic movie event, cinematic event. I don't know if that's a movie or a show on Disney Plus, whatever it's going to be. All these shows are supposed to come together and cross over with each other for one event. Why are they not doing larger scale events in these shows that they're making? Because you can say that maybe they're just trying to build up to that one point. They're trying to start very small and build up this universe, build up to that big climactic event very slowly, a slow burn, right? But it seems like, and I've done videos on this in the past, it seems like they're going after that Marvel template. It seems like they're hiring people like, first they hire Jon Favreau and they're like, you know what? We want to do what Marvel does. How come we have the biggest IP in the world, the most recognizable IP on the entire planet, and Marvel is still beating us? How is this possible? Let's go after their template, because if we do their template with the biggest IP in the world, we have to be able to make a lot of money, right? So let's go poach some Marvel employees. Let's go get Jon Favreau. Let's go get Taika Waititi to do a Mandalorian episode, and then we can convince him to do his own movie. Let's go get Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, the person who runs the MCU, makes all the decisions when it comes to the MCU. Let's go get him to produce a Star Wars movie. They're going after that Marvel template. And what Marvel does very well is they build up to that big climactic event. They built up to Endgame very well. Say what you want about the content inside of those movies, the wokeness or whatever. A lot of people complain about it. But if you look past that stuff, up until Endgame, the MCU is very good. I like it a lot. And the build up to the Endgame, to the big climactic event, was very good as well. Arguably the best part is the build up. The reason for that is because we have 3 Avengers movies before Endgame, and all of them had large, very large scale events, very large scale threats that is very lacking in the Star Wars universe right now. And why do you think that is? It's because Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni and everyone else who's a creatively involved, has any type of power at Lucasfilm, has any type of brain at Lucasfilm, they're waiting, other than the High Republic people. They don't count. They're Kathleen Kennedy disciples, they don't count. But the people who actually care about making good Star Wars content, they're waiting on Kathleen Kennedy to leave to start making the meat that we want. Because right now we're getting the salad, we're getting the starters, we're getting the appetizers, but we're not getting the main course yet. We're not getting the Ahsoka show. We're not getting the Kenobi show. We're just getting the starters. Like I said, we're not getting that stuff that we really want, the stuff that really gets us super excited. Because most of the time, if you ask people what piece of content they're most excited for, what upcoming with Star Wars, they're going to say Kenobi most of the time. And the people that don't say Kenobi are probably going to say Ahsoka. And we're not getting those shows for quite a while. We're still going to see Bad Batch. We're seeing that right now. We're going to see Book of Boba Fett. We might even see Mandalorian Season 3. And we're going to see Andor before we see Kenobi and before we see Ahsoka. Why are they waiting so long for those shows to come out? I truly think that they're trying to wait for Kathleen Kennedy to leave Lucasfilm, for her contract to expire, or maybe if Kathleen Kennedy doesn't leave Lucasfilm, because it's very possible that she doesn't. I think that she will, but it's very possible. We have to take in all possibilities here. It's very possible that she stays at Lucasfilm until forever, until she dies, you know? That's a possibility, and we have to be able to accept it if it does happen. But I think even if she does stay at Lucasfilm, she doesn't have the same power, she doesn't have the same pull that she had during the sequel trilogy. There's no way. There's no way that they have Jon Favreau proving himself with these small-scale projects, Dave Filoni proving himself with these small-scale projects. What they did with The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, very small scale in terms of the Star Wars story, the overall Star Wars story. And if you compare it to the sequel trilogy, you can see exactly what I mean. It's like world-ending threat levels in the sequel trilogy. You know, if Palpatine in the First Order, the Final Order, whatever the hell you want to call them, if they would win, they would take over the entire world, and there would be a dictatorship over the entire world. There's nothing really like that in The Mandalorian. It's kind of just like protect Baby Yoda at all costs. Do not let the Empire get Baby Yoda. It's not really like, oh my God, the world is going to end if they get Baby Yoda. No, the world's probably not going to end if they get Baby Yoda, but maybe it will play a part in it. Maybe. We don't know. We don't know exactly why they even want Grogu. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni proved themselves that they can tell this small-scale story, because it is a small-scale story. And I don't mean that as an insult. I love The Mandalorian a lot more than the sequel trilogy, but it's a very small-scale story. He proves himself to Disney. He proves himself to the Lucasfilm higher-ups, to the Disney higher-ups with this very small-scale story, and he tells a damn good story. So there's no way that they let Kathleen Kennedy stay after that. There's just no way that they see what can be done with this very small-scale Mandalorian show, what's going to be done with the Book of Boba Fett, because like I always say, not super excited for the Book of Boba Fett, but I know it's going to be really good. I already know that the Book of Boba Fett, it's a Jon Favreau creation. It's going to be good. They're not going to disappoint. So he's going to prove once again that with these small-scale shows, he can do very good content that a lot of the fans love, way more than the sequel trilogy. So if Kathleen Kennedy couldn't even do the big stuff with the sequels, the big scale, huge budgets, best directors that she got, whatever director she wanted, whatever writers she wanted, everything that she possibly wanted was given to her. Huge budgets, huge scale stories, and she couldn't deliver. She couldn't make these diehard Star Wars fans happy. But Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni make these diehard Star Wars fans happy with these tiny scale stories, these characters that we've never heard of before. Sequel trilogy also relied on nostalgia a lot. The original trilogy characters didn't have much to do in the sequels, but they played into that nostalgia a lot. One of the highlights of The Force Awakens for me, a lot of the Han Solo stuff is the best parts for me. The Chewie we're home moment, that gives me goosebumps to this day when I watch it. It's an amazing moment. A lot of people cringe at that moment, but I really like it. I think it's a great moment. But the sequel trilogy relied on nostalgia a lot. You don't really see much nostalgia in The Mandalorian. I mean, it's sprinkled in here and there. You know, you got Ahsoka, you got mentions of Anakin here and there. Grogu is kind of a nostalgia play with Yoda. Other than that, not really nostalgia. I mean, you get old characters brought in, but they don't rely on them for the storytelling. They just bring them in because it works for the story. Like, it's not like they brought Bo-Katan in and that's the whole episode. No, they brought Bo-Katan in because she played a big part. She made sense for the story to come in. They're waiting for Kenobi. They're waiting for Ahsoka. They're waiting for, if Rangers ever happens. I think that they have big plans for Rangers. I don't really care about that show as of now until we see some type of marketing material that makes me more excited. But I think they have big plans for Rangers. I think it's going to play a huge part in this story that they're going to tell and the build up to that big climactic event that they want. I think it's going to be huge. But I think they're waiting for those shows for Kathleen Kennedy to be gone. And I think it's actually going to happen. I don't know if she'll actually leave Lucasfilm. Like I said, we have to identify all possibilities. And a possibility that's out there is Kathleen Kennedy might stay. But I think it's pretty much proof. I think it's pretty much proven that she's losing power with the Dave Filoni promotion that we just got. I don't have to go through all the evidence. You've seen it in my videos over and over again. She's losing power slowly but surely It's been happening for over a year now. And I think that the final straw, obviously the final straw in October would be if her contract doesn't get renewed. Imagine the faces of the fandom menace whenever that happens. If that happens, whenever it turns to November 1st and Kathleen Kennedy is still not renewed. Oh man, happy tears all over the place. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation, about the Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni kind of waiting on Kathleen Kennedy's time to be up at Lucasfilm for them to gain a little bit more power, for them to start releasing these big scale projects like Kenobi, like Ahsoka. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about all that, because I truly think that that's what's going on. Or if you don't think that's what's going on, let me know why you think all of these shows we're not getting right now. Because like I said, it's not because they're building up, because Marvel built up in a way where they showed large scale events, large scale problems, large scale villains that could really end the entire world while building up to Thanos. So let me know why you would think that they would start so small scale with The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. Let me know why you think they would do that in the comments. But if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. If you want to follow me on Twitter or join the Discord, both those links will be in the description as well. Thank you for watching the video and hope to see you in the next one.